What is going on, YouTube? This is The Last Musketeer, and welcome to part 2 of the CounterSide Free-to-Play Is It Worth It series. So we're starting out right away with the episode that I left off on, so this is stage 1-2 of episode 2. So the first vid was the first day, this is the first week. So we'll see exactly what I got done and what I was able to do and what I've learned over that amount of time, because we've unlocked a lot of things, but I still have a ton to learn because there is a lot to this game. But I do know that I really enjoy it so far. The biggest takeaway for me is that the combat is really cool. Learning timings, mechanics, what counters things the best, what is the best option in certain situations is the biggest thing that I'm going to have to learn. But I'm putting in some codes right here, and I suggest you do the same if you have not done this or if you're just starting. These are great options for getting some really good stuff. And I was talking to somebody in the Discord about this prior, and I realized that I kind of started just a tad late because there was a big event just recently where they got a ton of free stuff, like free awaken units, as you see one of these coupons will be used for. But I missed out on a lot of things, but that's fine. I'm getting to see the game in kind of its natural state at this point because it's past all of that. So I'm going to use this, and this is an SSR Awaken recruitment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick Ministra. She seems to be extremely good. I don't know if she's the best one out of here, but she is very good, and she has been carrying me so hard through the campaign, through PvP, from what I've been doing so far. And I was suggested to pick Ministra from the comments of the YouTube section. One of the guys in my Discord, Azad, a big shout out to him. He's been helping me out as time goes on to make sure that I'm not making really bad decisions and help me kind of form a team. So we're doing pretty decently after that, but it did take me a lot of running by myself and trying to figure things out before I got a seemingly decent lineup. I know there's a lot of things I still have to learn, obviously, but the gameplay itself in the raw form, as I usually do, is a great way of showing what a new player is going to experience going into this, because not everybody wants to look up guides. I understand that takes away some of the fun of the game in the first place. Learning everything on your own is the biggest part of a gacha game. Obviously, looking through tier lists and something is a great option, but for me, I can't do that, so I have to kind of learn as I go. But when it comes to selector units, 100%, if you have the option to pick one and it's not random, you should check a tier list, because that's going to be the biggest drive as a free-to-play player in climbing those ranks. You're not going to have the easiest time with competing with someone that actually does spend money in the game. Even though it's a little bit, in certain situations, it's going to be a big improvement to what they're capable of doing progression-wise. So just keep that in mind. Anytime, there's no shame in looking at a tier list, but if you want to do it on your own, the raw gameplay as I do, it is a fun option, and I do very much enjoy it. But we've unlocked a couple of things, one of them being Arena, and this is a big major point in getting gear farming early game. Evidently, you can do a decent amount of Arena and unlock some tier 6 gear that is going to help you tremendously on gearing some of your higher ranked champs. So essentially, you don't have to win every match. It's a good idea to do that to get more points, but you can lose the matches. That's perfectly fine. You still get points for losing, evidently. So just going in and using all your tokens each day, regardless if you win or lose, is the best option. But do keep in mind that I did the first fight there, or maybe the second one, and then it moved me up to a higher bracket. Everybody here was a lot stronger than I was at this current time, so realistically, just be careful of that and kind of pay attention. Even if they are lower CP, I did get beat by teams that were a lot lower CP than me, but because they had a better lineup for PvP, it just kind of worked out in their favor. So do be wary of that, do pay attention, because it is going to be a little rough if you're caught off guard. But this is the end of episode 2, this is stage 4-5, and this one really wasn't too hard. At this point, I'm not having a hard time of actually clearing things, because you can see the Enhanced Knight, the boss, is level 25, and my Elizabeth is level 40. Plus I've got Ministra at level 52, so she is going to do quite a bit of work for me here, clearing waves and helping me survive a little bit. But at this point, I still didn't have a great lineup. I still didn't know what I was doing, so clears are a little slow. I did notice that most of the time through the campaign, I am not 3-starring missions unless it pertains to ship health. In those cases, I generally always 3-star those because I can keep them off of my ship for the most part, but the ones where you have to complete in a minute's time are nigh impossible for me early on. Until you get a decent lineup that has quick clear, quick pushback where you can get to the boss to destroy it in time, you're going to have a hard time clearing them fast. So don't be discouraged if you don't get the 3 stars on each mission. You can go back and do them later on. It's all about clearing and trying to get some of the free units and stuff that you get from clearing the campaign, which also takes me into the guide missions. I don't talk about them a lot. I will talk about it a little bit more later on, but it's very important as a new player that you follow these guides, because these guides are going to help you tremendously in leveling up your units and getting free SSR tokens, getting free gear that is going to push you above and beyond where you would get on your normal progression. So just if I can give any tips from what I've learned just from the first week, do your guide missions as much as you possibly can. Everything else can wait. So one of the support units that I was recommended to go for was Young Harim, or however exactly you say that. I may butcher names here and there, do bear with me on that one, but she seems to be one of the best support units in the game as recommended to me by many people. So I am going to try to get this operator. I'll probably summon a decent amount during this video. Spoiler alert, I do not actually get her. I think I was around 70-something summons in and didn't quite do it before the banner switch to other people. Now, I would have preferred, obviously, to go in and guarantee the unit, or save them for a guaranteed unit later on, but I figured I might as well test my luck, and I want to show some of the summons so that people can see just what you get here. But one thing that is great is this is actually giving you free 5 summons each day on this banner. So you may not get anything good, but they are free summons, so it's always going to be worth it. There are some good heroes that you can use here, one of them being the one that I was going for, the supporter Young Harim, as you see me doing another 10 pull for, and you'll see me do a decent amount of summons in this video. Anyway, I try to do as much as I can to show people what it looks like and try to get something that I can use and apply to my team that's going to help me a lot. So I don't get really that lucky, I think, during the entire run of this first week. Hopefully, you know, my luck's going to turn around for the better part in the next week, but we'll see. I don't know how many summons I'll do. If I find something that I really want to summon on, I may do that, but I think for the most part I'm going to save. One notable thing is that the free summon that you get per day, I actually got 2 different SSR units off that, so that's pretty lucky in itself, just not the ones that I wanted. So we're actually taking our first 4-star unit in Ministra, so she is going to be leveled up first and foremost above everyone else because she is that good. At this point, I couldn't quite take her to 5 stars, but I am going to level up some of her skills because they do add a decent amount of damage that's going to help me tremendously. And also, when it comes to anything like a passive, getting that extra crit damage is nice, but also getting to level 4 of her 3rd skill is going to be really, really nice when I get the cooldown reduction. So anything that has cooldown reduction or some type of added ability, like maybe you get extra damage reduction when you get to a certain tier or something, those are the ones that are going to be generally more important than anything else. The damage ones are great, but if it's not a nuke, it's not necessarily that big a priority early on. It's always better to get cooldown reduction or some type of additive ability. I'm going in here for an operator recruitment. That is a new thing that I unlocked at this point. And these are ones that you add that give you like buffs to your units. You don't actually deploy these, you put them as the leader basically of your squad, as you can see here, and they will add some benefits to them. So a nice way to upgrade your squad from the outside, though I really haven't summoned any on it before other than the free one that you get early on, so I'm gonna have to go back and do that at some point and kind of figure out something that's going to be best for what my lineup is. Obviously, if I can get something that's going to up damage to counters, that's going to be a fantastic idea, just so I can get Ministra as high damage as possible. But I do a 10 summon on the Awaken part of the banner, because you can buy a 10 summon, it seems to be every week, with 2,700 of the gems, so you're gonna have to spend them. Try to save them up. It seems I used a lot of mine early on for summons. I got a little greedy. I should not do that as a free-to-play, obviously, but getting as many summons in is the biggest thing about these free-to-play is it worth it videos, because you really need to know what it looks like for an average summon. And as you can see here, I get another SSR unit with a single summon, which is fantastic. I'll take it. I don't really know the best options to use for these tower type characters yet. I assume they're probably ones where if you're having a hard time holding, you probably place them down and they have to do a good job of holding a specific part. But I really don't know too much about it yet, so over time I'll try to figure it out and see what I can come up with. But moving on to some of these stages, this is a bit of progression from the last stage I showed you. So this one is episode 4, stage 3-3, and still nothing too hard. I'm still having a hard time getting the 3-star on most of these. Sometimes you'll see me get one every little bit, and that's mainly because it's not based on time. As you can see, this one, win in 1 minute, I was not able to do that. And that is a recurring theme. So I'm really going to have to figure out what is the best option for doing that, because even if I level Ministra up, as I do in this video, quite high, it still seems like I don't have enough to clear it in time. And potentially it could be because it's a bit too high of a cost. Maybe I should send out some smaller units to push the line a little easier, so that she can get up there faster without having to take out the mobs herself to push forward. But going into some of the simulation training, I do love those because they have a lot of great options for getting some gear. So you can do those. You're limited to the amount of tickets you have. You get 2 a day. You could possibly get some from doing some missions, stuff that you can use to turn in for whichever ones you want. But just make sure that you're using them as much as you possibly can. And also, I just took Ministra to star level 5. I know I get to rambling about certain things and then I miss what I'm doing in this actual part of the video, but do bear with me. I try to show it so that you can see it, and I'll try to talk about it when it's a key point, when I'm not talking about other things and rambling on about other stuff. But I use a ship selector that I got for free, an SR ship selector, and I choose Gleipnir because this one seems to be really good, and it was recommended to me from, once again, Azad in the Discord. So I try to follow his advice because he does have a good knowledge of the game and is helping me tremendously in moving forward, as I've said before. But I'm doing some more summons, and realistically it's just not going well. I'm not getting anything great. But that's fine, because I do have plenty of options for damage, ones that I've got for free as well. So while I'm on the subject, I do want to say I think this game is very, very generous when it comes to handing out rewards and handing out free stuff for players, especially when you're trying to start a new account and catch up. That is the most crucial thing, is getting as much as you can to get a boost, because any game that's been out for a little while is going to have a lot of people at a very, very high pinnacle, and the rest of us are going to have to play catch up. So having the option of getting a lot rewarded to you early on from the game is a huge boost of confidence going. But as you can see here, I am taking Elizabeth Pendragon to 4 stars because she was one of my first SSRs and one of my favorite units, so I really wanted to show her some love, and I'm going to try to get her as high as possible. Maybe, I don't know if it'll be my second one that I take up through after I get done with Ministra, but she may be an option. I'll probably take a defender unit up first just so I can have somebody that's good for holding the line. Obviously, the lower rarity champs are very good for this. And speaking of defenders, I've got Administration Shieldmen. They are fairly good. They have ways of reducing the damage they take, plus doing some type of taunt kind of thing, so they take the damage for everyone else. It's a great option for keeping the rest of my team alive. So maybe I will do defenders as my second main upgrade, but we'll see when we get to that point. I also get to level 30, which is a great milestone, and directly after, fully 6-star my Ministra. So this is my first 6-star. I'm excited that Ministra is the first option. And then I fully finish the beginner's plan of the guide mission. So it gives you a free SSR CEO coupon and 10 summons, which is really good. And also, I wanted to point out that I got John Mason from the very first run of the hard mode of his side story. So it's like I think I was talking to Azan, he said it was like a 0.01% chance that you get the full instead of just the shards, and I got it on the very first mission. So I just wanted to show that off for people that may have been farming for quite a while. It can happen, but you may not be near as lucky as I am. I just seem to have insane luck when it comes to these videos, so do keep in mind it's not going to be that easy. But I'm going to show you a little bit of a raid, and this one is my own team doing it. Obviously, I'm going to leave it to someone else to finish off for me, because I do a massive, whopping 650 damage. That's right, 0.02% of the boss's health down by me alone. No mean to brag, but, you know, I'm pretty good, I should say. But just showing off a little bit of what you get from these guide missions. There are plenty of fantastic options, and they're really not hard to do. This is just me doing one of the missions that it requires. It wants me to put you, Mina, in the lobby background. That's a pretty easy quest, and now the rest of these I had already done most of this, so you're seeing me just go through some of the expert plan to get to Evelyn Keller, and I've been told that she is the best healer in the game, so this is a fantastic pickup near the end of the week, but you know, we finally get her, and that's what's most important. So she has a lot of really good things, and I'm thinking about the fact that her passive gives her, after every third basic attack, she restores surrounding units HP by 2% upon hit. So I'm thinking maybe it's a good idea to do like an attack speed set on her. I don't exactly know. What I threw on was a haste set that I got from the guide missions, so that I can make her skill cooldown a little bit faster, so that she's able to cast more heals. I don't know if that's the best option, obviously, but that's what I'm going with now, and it seems to do pretty well. So I'm going to show you one of the stages that I'm currently working on, the one that I finished on because I didn't really go too far into the missions after I was trying to do the guide missions and everything else. I just kind of doing side stories, farming for some other things, and trying to move forward. But this is what it's going to look like, just as a small showcase of what our healing is capable of with a very, very low level and very low end gear. So of course we start out with Irie, who is a rare tank, by the way, who is pretty good and has a lot of good options. As you can see, she's fairly low, but Evelyn shows up and starts healing her, and she will not drop for the rest of this fight. She went down very low health very early, but that is the power of Evelyn Keller, just a completely insane healer. And with her ulti drop there, you can see Irie's health goes up quite a lot, and she's still out healing the damage that she's taking, which is insane to see from something that easy to get. So once again, finish your guide missions. It's extremely important getting this unit without, because I haven't gotten lucky enough to pull her myself yet. I had to get it from the guide, but being an SR unit, she's not that hard to pull overall. You get them, I think on average I get almost one of them every single time I do a 10 pull, so you've got a good chance of getting her. So make sure that you're doing these and farming for some of your units. One thing I did not show in this is that I do a lot of farming outside of this in the hard mode to get certain units like Orca I'm working on currently that give you a ton of good options. So be sure to keep that in mind, and hopefully I can be a little more organized in the next video and have some more footage to show. But anyway guys, that's gonna do it for me. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.